Alright, so this is part 5. We're going to go ahead and install the timing kit, the front cover, and the rear main cover. So to start off here, we're going to begin with our timing set. We already have the cam sprocket on here. We're going to go ahead and just drop the chain in some oil. Help out with lubing stuff up. Then we're gonna take this and toss it in the oven. Set the oven to about 170, 200. It doesn't really matter. We just need to get it heated up. Leave it in there until we are ready. For us, we still have to get the lower timing gear off. So we're gonna heat this up. So I don't know where my good three jaw puller is. This one, the handles are too big. So when this is on here, it won't quite fit behind the actual sprocket here. We're gonna go the bearing separator route, which if you have or haven't used one of these, you can get the full sets here. We'll just go right around the back side of it. So we'll go ahead and put this on here real quick. Okay, so we're gonna take a large size bearing separator. Looks like this side's gonna be the most ideal. The small one's too small. Looks like we kind of have to clock it to the side here a little bit. We're gonna throw some heat on it. The wedges in here. Not much for me to say here other than you watching this. Take a little bit of heat. There it is. Okay, so now what we want to do, you want to come in here and clean that surface up real good after you get the sprocket off there. We want to angle our woodruff key towards #1 cylinder. Best way of doing that is making sure that this is at maximum travel possible. Your #1 cylinder. And there it is. So now we're gonna go inside. We're gonna grab our sprocket out of the oven. Should be warm enough to hit on there. So we're back. I'm gonna go ahead and take this, get it positioned to where this wants to start going on the woodruff key. Okay, look how that goes on there with the heat. Now, we have an oil pump guide, but this will work just fine for tapping that on there. Slide this over here, give her some taps. Once it bottoms out, it's there. No more it can go. That is installed now. Next, we'll go ahead, take our cam sprocket off. We're gonna go ahead and get ready to put our cam gear on here. First things first, go ahead and dab a little Loctite on our cam bolts. It's gonna be messy. So what I did, I put my catch pan underneath. We're gonna go ahead and grab our chain out of here, put it over our sprocket. A couple of our bolts, put them in here, and tight these. This is gonna get torqued to 26 foot-pounds. We don't wanna just go ahead and start berserk on one of them. I'm just gonna kind of slowly tighten each of them in individually. Keep going around until you can't really do that anymore. Not quite gonna torque them yet. Just keep getting them more snug and snug. Now we can torque. Timing chain and sprockets are installed. We're good to go ahead and put on our oil pump. First thing I want to mention here is it's going to be another huge mess. We're going to take our oil pump, try to get this all lubed up as best you can as well. Kind of run it around. Get oil all up in there. Kind of move your center around and you can hear it kind of sucking that oil in. So we take a couple of our bolts here. Don't really like that on, but it will. Okay, so we have a nice tool here. We have something that's going to help us align. Okay, come on. Okay, there we go. Makes it easier on us so we don't have to damage anything. Hand tight all of our bolts. Go ahead and run your bolts in. Set your torque wrench to 18 foot-pounds. On a diagonal pattern here. Kind of nice about the digital torque wrench is you got these levels you can see when you're getting close. So I'm going to take everything to 2 first. Go back to the start and we'll do our full 18. So we're going to go ahead and install our front timing cover seal. If you don't already have yours installed or didn't buy a pre-installed one. As far as going and getting it out, it's easy to just pop it out from the back side. So we're gonna start off by just setting this kind of flat there. I am using one of the press plates like you have on a press machine, just because it's flat and hard and heavy. We're gonna come in here, hit this right in the center. Give her a check. Okay, looks like we need to hit a little heavier on this side. And once it's flat up here, you're in. All right, looks good. We're gonna come right in here with a couple taps. All right, looks good from both ends. Now, if you haven't already got everything all cleaned up, you're gonna wanna come in here and wipe that surface really well and the bottom surface. So we'll take some brake clean on a rag. Just like so. Nice, clean, and dry. You can always tell by just rubbing your clean finger across. It should go and kind of drag, so you know you're clean and dry. We'll take our timing cover gasket. There's only one way you can go on here, so you know you can't mess it up too bad. Pop a bolt through in 3 locations. When you have a bolt through there, it'll stick on the rubber, so your gasket will actually hold still for you. We'll go ahead and come over here to the block and to get our mating surface clean and dry. Now's a good time to go ahead and point out, if you don't already have your front oil plug in there, you need to get it in. Come over here, kind of line the first bolt up, line our second one up, third one. Now we should be able to push this back on, just like so. And it should sit still for you. Go ahead and put the rest of your bolts in hand tight. Get them close to being snug. Should be able to move that freely. So now what we're going to do is get a couple of them tight by your hand. Now we're going to go and turn the motor over. All right, so here you can kind of see we have an uneven surface from the bottom of our block to the bottom of the timing cover. We're going to take something solid and flat. It'd be better if you had something different than a socket, but this is what I'm using. Just kind of make that even there. You can even pull up into it to ensure that a nice and even surface there now. Next, we're gonna torque all of our bolts down to 18 foot-pounds. Your front timing cover is installed. So we went ahead and set the block on one of our roller carts, a couple 2x4s under there to keep it propped up. First thing we're gonna do actually is replace the oil galley plug. I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. And we're gonna replace it with an aluminum one. Just like so. The first thing, we'll get self-tapping screw here. Plastic we're going into. You wanna try to thread it in a little ways. Grab our pliers and tug on it. Just like that, it's out. So next, we come in here with our finger on the O-ring surface and just wipe this out real good. Then we'll grab our new one here. Put some Vaseline on your finger. Rubber, or if you got a different kind of material here, or kind of jelly substance to lubricate O-rings real well. And I just use Vaseline. I'm gonna thread the screw in the end here, and then we'll pop this on in. In there, nice and snug. Alright, so we're gonna put a few bolts in here. There we go. Should be able to thread some bolts in. Now what you want to do, you want to look and feel underneath here. Make sure so the bottom of the block where the oil pan seats, or the bottom of your rear main cover is, you want to make sure that's a flat surface. Now, we'll go ahead and come in here and snug all these up. Our cover instructions tell us to torque these bolts to 22 foot-pounds. So now we kind of want to do this side, center, center, top, top. Rear cover is installed. So now we're going to go ahead and install our windage tray, and then the pickup tube, and then the oil pan. We already have this all clean and oiled up. Pretty much only one way that this can go on here. Just like so. I want to note, it's going to be 2 bolts or nuts that you're not going to want to put on yet, which is this one and this one. So we'll go ahead and put the rest of them on here and then go ahead and torque it all. We can go ahead and zap these down. We'll get them close and then go back and torque them. We want 15 foot-pounds here. And once again, I want to note, when you're putting anything like an O-ring on, you want to take some sort of lubricant for it. I like to use petroleum jelly. Never want to put those in dry. And then when you're coming to click these in, everything's sort of lined up. So we have our holes lined up with our bolts here. When we're installing this, or pushing our O-ring down, we want to make sure that we're pushing it straight down. So we'll go ahead and pop this in here first. Your O-ring should snap directly in. We'll go ahead and get our nuts and our bolt threaded in. And as far as our oil pump bolt goes, we want to put a little bit of Loctite on it. You're not going to find a torque spec for this. I mean, you may, but we're just going to go about doing it with a ratchet. We'll get it snug now. We'll go ahead and get the nuts all the way down. Once again, we'll go ahead and come in here and torque these to 15. And as far as our pickup tube bolt goes, you just want to get a nice feel. It's aluminum. You don't want it insanely too tight. That feels pretty good to me. Now what you want to do is inspect it and make sure that it looks like it's sitting flat in there. Looks good to me. Just for the heck of it at this point, before you get going any farther, in case you have something incorrect, go ahead and turn the motor over a couple times. Make sure nothing's interfering with anything. Okay, all in all, looks great to me. Go ahead and do the oil pan. So first things first, you're going to want to come in and get your oil pan surface all nice, smooth, and dry. I have already done it. I'm just wiping this off with my fingers now in case anything got on the surface. Now, at this point, some people do this, some people don't. We're going to take a little bit of our RTV again. We're going to put it over where the front cover mates to the block, just because this is going to be a weak point. And then where the rear cover makes to the block, try not to get it in your crank housing at all either. Then we'll take our oil pan gasket. It can only go on one way, so don't worry. We'll rest it on here. And we'll do a clean swipe over the mating surface. And you want to be careful when you're setting your oil pan over it because of that pickup tube. And try your best to line everything up. Grab our oil pan bolt. Go ahead and get a couple threaded in the front side up here. Here. Alright, go ahead and thread the rest of these in. Go ahead and get all your bolts close to being snugged down. Now we want to go ahead and set the torque wrench to 18 foot-pounds. We'll start in the middle, kind of cross pattern back and forth on both sides out. And then our rear 2 long bolt, we want 106 inch-pounds. Alright, and that's going to do it. We're going to go ahead and put the oil plug in there, try to get a filter on here, and then we'll meet you at the top side. Thanks for watching.